Okay, so I finally saw the latest Scooby-Doo direct-to-video film, Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, and I've got to be honest, this film I've been putting off for quite a while, and I really only watched it to basically make a video about it, because for the past few years, the Scooby-Doo direct-to-video films have been on a massive decline, basically. They're either just really bad, or they're just boring, basically. They've lacked that touch, and this film, it's kind of like what I've been seeing with a lot of the films over the past couple of years, where it shows some promise in some areas, but falls flat on its face in others. So, yeah, the trailer for this film makes it look worse than it actually is. The trailer makes it look really bad, I'm gonna say. The actual film is better than that, but the first thing the film does right out of the gate, and I've noticed a lot of Scooby-Doo films have been doing this in the past few years, is constantly referencing the past. And I'm not really sure why, because they, Warner Brothers or the people making these, working on them, are clearly aware that obviously they have an adult audience watching them, but also they seem to be trying to cater it as much as possible to a new kid audience who will not get these constant, references, and the adults in the audience aren't going to be liking it because of basically how it's now aimed more towards bloody toddlers than ever before. But anyway, the first thing this film does that really irks me is... so this film basically takes place between Scooby-Doo, Where Are You, and the Scooby-Doo show. However, the film itself is set in 2001, and the only way I know this is because in the background, in one of the scenes, there is a calendar dating this film to be taking place in 2001, which doesn't really make sense in continuity, but also, basically, if you thought, all those Scooby-Doo Rogues Gallery of monsters and that, the ingenuity of making up all their own costumes. No, apparently it was all done by this designer named Coco, and she made all, not just some, all of the Scooby-Doo Rogues Gallery's costumes, which doesn't make a lick of sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, one, how would you be able to make all these costumes and never get caught or traced back to you? But it doesn't make sense. And it takes away from those original rogues and the fact that they made their own costumes and they were all completely unique for the most part. And also some of them weren't very good, like the Minor 49er. It was some stilts and a bloody beard. That wasn't a costume. That wasn't a costume, that was just pathetic. That was just some extra long trousers to accommodate the stilts and a beard. The ghost clown is literally just your bog standard clown costume. And then there's others, like she invents the bloody 10,000 bolt ghost costume, which also messes with its continuity within the series. But yeah, clearly, the thing is though, they clearly want to constantly be referencing back to continuity, but then they want to constantly be retconning it as well. It's a problem that they've had with these films since the abysmal Return to Zombie Island, where they basically just want to retcon, everything that seemingly made the originals good. They just want to retcon it. This film does have a lot of cameos, like Mr. Captain Cutler, and various others. Basically, there's a load of inmates in a prison in this, where basically it's a who's who of all the Scooby-Doo rogues unmasked. And yeah, other than just references, it's just like, okay, why? But I'll talk more about that later. So yeah, this film oddly has an 11-minute prologue at the beginning where we start off with a completely unconnected mystery being wrapped up, and most of these films now seem to do that, where for some reason all of them seem to open with the gang just solving another mystery, which to be honest looks more interesting than the mystery you get in the film, and then they just go off to whatever this is. So yeah, the opening basically reveals that, hey, Coco is the one who made all of the costumes and the gang capture her. But then suddenly there are no more, zero, after they capture Coco, there are no more people dressing up in costumes to scare off the locals or whatever. Like, there's no more supernatural type mysteries, none. And the thing is like, what? That doesn't really make sense, because obviously I know what they're getting at is Coco was supplying the costumes, but like, you know, if people couldn't go to her, then they'd eat in this universe where she was the one who made the costumes, then surely they would go to one of her competitors, as she mentions in the film, or they would just make their own or something else. Like, doesn't really make sense why. You know, but okay. But then finally, and this is probably the longest we've ever had to wait in one of these more recent films, it's not until after the 20-minute mark where we finally get introduced to our monster, or monsters, which are basically, you know, monstrous versions of the Scooby Gang. They're called Nefario and other things in this, but basically, yeah, it's just monstrous versions of the Scooby Gang. Now, this mystery initially I thought was going to be incredibly predictable, and it still kind of is, but I will say, it does give it this one does have a bit more of a mystery to it than a lot of the recent ones, so I will give it credit to that. And the main reason is that there's more than one suspect. And also, there's a couple of twists and turns in the mystery. It's not just a by-the-books thing. So, I will say the writing in this one is a bit better, in parts. Because, unfortunately, some things that I've noticed a lot, and this is happening particularly in this one as well, there's so many fourth wall breaking gags and jokes in this. So many. That just really take you out of it. Because this is how the joke will go. Scooby or one of the other characters will point out a fourth wall joke, but then they will continue to just do it. Pointing out, basically, they point out a cliche or something obvious, but then proceed to do it anyway. That isn't clever, and it just isn't funny to me. It just takes me out of it the whole time. I do really find it annoying. Now, there's also something else to talk about while I'm talking about stuff like the humour. So, this is the first film to switch up the animation style, which I'm glad, because I wasn't the biggest fan of the previous look towards the end of its run, because everything got far, far, far too saturated and far too bright with the previous style that they were using. It looked good in Camp Scare and Abracadabra Do. It looked really good there, but towards the end they just upped the saturation and made everything far too saturated, far too bright. This one thankfully takes it back a lot, and initially I thought they were trying to emulate the, you know, late 60s and 1970s and 80s styling, and they're not really trying to do that. It's more, I would say this is more cartoony and Looney Tunes-esque, mainly because they don't feel solid, these characters, anymore. They feel very much squash and stretch, these, because all of the characters, particularly Shaggy and Scooby, go off-model so much in this, and everything just feels so overly animated. It feels far too bouncy, and that compared to basically, the more realistic movement. Whereas here, it's just very overly animated. Everything is just constantly moving or bouncing around. And yeah, as I said, this feels much more of a cartoony type look to it. And if you watch the film, you'll understand what I mean by that. The monsters' designs themselves are fine. To be honest, I'd say they're better than some of the other ones we've been getting as of recent. As I said, they are just, monstrous versions of the gang. But, they look better than some of the others that we've gotten as of recent. And, yeah, as you can see on the DVD cover here, there is a redesign of the Mystery Machine, because the Mystery Machine gets destroyed for the upteenth time. Yeah. And there is an overly long montage of them repairing it. And that's what I feel about this film. For some reason, there are so many pointlessly long, drawn-out sections in this film. It is just really drawn out in sections. Which is really weird, because the final, act of this film feels incredibly rushed. And the fact that they spend so much time basically padding out everything beforehand, it just feels odd. So anyway, I'm going to be talking about some spoilers, because I want to talk about the final act and the ending. So, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So, in the end, it's revealed that Coco is not behind this. And it is actually the warden of the prison, because he is a huge Mystery Incorporated fan, and he decided to give them this mystery to cheer them up. And somehow he has a remote control for the prison that he accidentally releases all of the prisoners. Yeah, all of the prisoners. Oh, bear in mind, this happens over an hour in. I think it's like an hour and 5 minutes into this hour and 17-minute movie. All of the prisoners, basically all the Scooby-Doo rogues, get released out of prison. Now, I thought they were going to maybe leave it on a cliffhanger type thing there, but no, they're actually going to go out and capture them all. Now, all these criminals were up to various different things, like, for example, the Ghost Clown. He was essentially trying to murder the gang, if you remember, in order to get the circus closed. Yeah. But for some reason, him, along with Captain Cutler and all the others, for some reason, they all go off to steal candy from trick-or-treaters. No, I'm not making this up. That is what they all do. Every single one of them. And this is where I'm just like, why? It just doesn't make any sense, and it just really ruins it. And this is something that I've been annoyed about for a while, and that the villains in that no longer feel dangerous anymore. They just feel like jokes. They just feel like complete jokes in this. Like, honestly, just why? Why bother? If you're going to do the thing where they're all back, just have it so there's a cliffhanger, it's like, ooh, all of the people that the gang caught and that are now out there again, and leave it on that. But no, they just round them all up off screen. Like, not even in a montage, just off screen. So what was the point in releasing them all? What was the point? I think the whole thing with this film is, it feels like it's a 45-minute film originally, and in the original draft, and they've just kind of had to add a load of things to it. In fact, 45 minutes of being generous, probably about 40 minutes. because honestly, it feels like they just added so many things to just pad out the runtime in this. So, yeah, the actual mystery itself as a mystery on its own isn't bad, but God, there's just so many things about it that just hold it back for me, and I will say I will not be watching this film again. It is just not good. Now, Minikona's Velma, I really miss. Kate Micucci as Velma, just in this, she's not as bad as previously, because this time she's not written to basically just be annoying, thankfully. She is slightly annoying in a different way, because in this one Velma is pining over Coco. And that's basically all she does for the majority of this film, which gets old really fast, because if you've seen any jokes ever about someone pining over someone else, falling in love with someone else in any other film, you've seen this before. So, yeah, that's all I'm mentioning on that. So, yeah, I really don't know why Warner Brothers keep making these really bad decisions. Like, you've got that awful looking Velma HBO Max series, which I saw the trailer for when it came out, and my God, I didn't think it was possible to be that bad, but there we go. And yeah, honestly, I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, they just seem to not be able to find what, fans actually want to see or people want to see. Like, honestly, I don't know why they... If you want to do this, super young kiddie route, then by all means. And if you're going to go adult, why do you have to go and basically try and copy Harley Quinn? Because that's what it kind of feels like. Why not, continue off from the original 4 direct-to-video films where the gang are young adults? From, Scooby-Doo, Zombie Island to Cyber Chase, that era. But no, they'd rather forget those films exist. They're not afraid to cash in on them for some reason. Although not cash in on them by doing, Blu-ray releases of Zombie Island, Witches, Ghosts, and Alien Invaders. No, they'll not do that. But they will make terrible sequels to them. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in a few years when Scooby-Doo's 60th anniversary comes about that they do a sequel to Witches, Ghosts. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, there we go, people. There we go. Another crap Scooby-Doo direct-to-video film. Yeah.